It finally happened. After years of ownership roller coasters, relocation threats, and last-minute saves, time ran out on the Arizona Coyotes. On Thursday, April 18th, as the 23-24 regular season came to a close, the NHL officially announced the long-rumored sale of the franchise. And it all ended in a somewhat unusual way. Instead of a typical relocation, the NHL declared the Coyotes franchise inactive and established a new franchise for Salt Lake City, Utah. Utah is acquiring all personnel contracts, executives, coaches, players, draft picks, and so on. Remaining in Phoenix with owner Alex Morello, the Coyotes' brand, records, and a promise to allow him to reactivate the franchise if he can secure a suitable arena by 2029. At some point, we'll get to talking about the new team identity that's to come. Name, colors, logos, uniforms, all as Fanatics shifts into its role as the new on-ice outfitter of the NHL. That will come in time. But for now, an elegy of sorts, as I try to summarize the story of a brand that was truly one of a kind. One that will be very much missed in the NHL. In a bit of tragic irony, Coyotes fans are losing their team a little like how they got it. The circumstances may be different, but the end result was the same.
As the NHL regular season ends today, the Jets will end their stay in Winnipeg. Pried from the arms of the loyal fans in the name of so-called progress. This is the new NHL, they say. Bigger, richer, but no one in Winnipeg today seemed to feel it was better.
Let's first go back to the very beginning. The Winnipeg Jets were a founding member of the World Hockey Association in 1972. It was a professional league set up to rival the NHL. And the Jets were one of its most stable and successful franchises, winning 3 championships in 7 seasons. When the WHA ultimately folded in 1979, the Jets were accepted into the NHL. But after just over a decade, rising operating costs and player salaries, alongside a decline in the Canadian dollar, left small-market Canadian NHL teams struggling to survive. Quebec was first to lose its team, as the Nordiques left for Denver in 1995, and that scene would be repeated the following year as the end was coming for the Winnipeg Jets. During the 95-96 season, the franchise was sold to an American group, initially with the intent of moving them to Minnesota to replace the North Stars, who left for Dallas in 1993. By December of '95, it was reported that Phoenix, Arizona would become the team's new home. In their final 2 regular season games, the Jets wore a special patch on their jerseys, paying tribute to 24 years of cherished memories. With the relocation plan settled, the NHL and the new owners went to work on building a new brand for the club and capitalizing on the novelty of ice hockey in the desert Southwest. A unique environment called for a unique brand identity. The NHL had already begun work with Phoenix-based design firm Campbell Fisher Ditko, where President Greg Fisher took the lead on developing the logo. In a 2020 interview with the Coyotes website, Fisher said, "We started building a brand, color palette, logos, all kinds of stuff for the league and for the first ownership group in 1994, but obviously it wasn't launched until 1996. But where to begin? Fisher recalled one design directive from the NHL. Despite much of 90s sports logo design devolving into garish cartoon characters, the league had no interest in angry animals. Perhaps after seeing this concept from their Minnesota-based creative partner Valentine Design. Instead, the creative minds would come up with one of the most groundbreaking logos in professional sports. Fisher collaborated with NHL creative director David Haney, who had become enamored with Kachina art of the Pueblo people, Native American cultures indigenous to the region. This concept was developed as early as September of 1994 and even had the team being named the Arizona Coyotes, 20 years before that would be the case. This one had the Kachina coyote in sunglasses, and another incorporated a coyote tail in the wordmark. On April 8, 1996, before the Jets' season was even over, the hockey world was introduced to the new name, colors, and logo of the Phoenix Coyotes. The Kachina brand was born, though like many new brands, it was not immediately adored. The Arizona Republic reported that those in attendance gave a bigger cheer when Scorpions was mentioned as a finalist for the team name. 4 months later, on August 26th, another major reveal, as the Coyotes gave fans their first look at the team's uniforms. Mike Gardner and Chris King are seen here modeling the black and white jerseys, respectively. Though not seen in that photo, Dallas Drake and Dave Manson were also on hand to model the new look, with colors and design details unlike anything seen in the NHL before or since. February 6, 1999. Late in their third season, the Coyotes added a third jersey, a simplified version of their Kachina Coyote, using only the mask over a green base color. According to logo designer Greg Fisher, at one point in the Coyotes' brand design process, this was intended to be the team's primary logo, backed up by that concept art from 1994. And it turns out the Crescent Moon's secondary mark could have been the crest of their other jersey. This alternate uniform ended up seeing the introduction of a different secondary logo, that orange Gila monster, a lizard species native to the American Southwest. Fisher said the design was originally intended to be part of the desert scene featured around the waist and sleeves, before it ultimately found its way onto the shoulders. For better definition between the dark crest and the dark jersey, a sand-colored outline was added around the mask for the following season. That green third jersey was worn for 70 games over 5 seasons, right up until 2003, when the first Kachina chapter was coming to a close. Not 5 years into their time in the desert, the Coyotes were already facing serious financial issues and seeking new ownership. Coming to the team's rescue in 2001 were Steve Ellman and the biggest hockey name of all time, as Wayne Gretzky would become a part owner and head of hockey operations. As is often the case in changes of ownership, the new bosses sought to put their own stamp on the franchise. According to the Arizona Republic, upon joining the organization, the first question Gretzky had, "Can we change the uniforms?" To that end, the Coyotes enlisted the help of Adrenaline Design Group, whose creative director Dan Price had previously led the development of the wildly popular Colorado Avalanche branding. On September 3, 2003, the new breed emerged. The new creative direction was distinctly traditional, with the Coyotes trading in their modern design for one perceived to be more classic in nature, ending up with an angry animal after all. They simplified their color palette, dropping purple, green, and burnt orange, and brightened their brick red, making it their new primary color. To tie the new brand back to Arizona, they added a new shoulder patch in the shape of the state, with sun rays inspired by the state flag. Still, it seemed to be an odd disconnect to transition away from an identity that truly represented the local market. But it was the start of a new era in Coyotes hockey, from top to bottom. In 2007 came the league-wide launch of the Reebok Edge uniform system. The Coyotes' new jerseys were revealed on September 15th, with the sole change from the prior design being the removal of the waist stripes, considered by many fans to be a downgrade of an already dull uniform. So the team got to work on a new third jersey. November 22nd, 2008. Phoenix would once again wear black, with a full-body coyote, this time in a leaping action pose. The new alternate uniform was the first in franchise history to make use of curved lines and no traditional striping. In a rare move, the Coyotes even showed fans some alternate versions of their alternate uniform, with a feature on their website. A new secondary mark adorned the shoulders, a roundel with a coyote paw print, which might have been a reference to Greg Fisher's unused jersey concepts from 1994. Both of those designs featured paw prints on the shoulders. But at this point, another half-decade on, financial issues continued to plague the franchise, who ultimately declared bankruptcy in 2009. Gretzky departed, and the NHL took control of the franchise, even fighting in court to prevent a sale to BlackBerry founder Jim Balsillie, who wanted to bring a team to Hamilton, Ontario. In the ensuing years, the ownership search dragged on, at one point involving True North Sports and Entertainment, seeking to return the NHL to Winnipeg, the original home of the Coyotes. Instead, True North acquired and moved the Atlanta Thrashers in 2011. Following a lockout-shortened 2013 season, the NHL had decided that if new ownership and a new arena lease could not be resolved by the summer, the franchise would be moved, possibly to Seattle, a city which also lacked a suitable arena at the time. In a close 11th-hour vote, the Glendale City Council approved a lease agreement with a new ownership group, saving the Coyotes from another relocation threat. As part of their deal with the city, the new owners agreed to change the name of the franchise. The team moved to Glendale Arena in 2003, which meant the Phoenix Coyotes had not actually played in Phoenix for more than a decade at this point.
And this year, obviously, we'll be going by the Arizona Coyotes, which is something that we felt was the right thing to do, as I've said many times, because we want to be not just the team for the Valley. We want to be the team for the entire state. But in regards to changes that you'll see, there will be no change to the logo at minimum this season. The uniforms will just have a slight change in the shoulder patch.
But bigger changes were already in the works. June 26, 2015. Coinciding with the start of their 20th anniversary season, the Coyotes unveiled an extensive redesign of their uniforms, incorporating more black elements, a new name and number font, and all-new shoulder patches. For the white jersey, a redrawn version of the Arizona-shaped secondary logo. For the red home sweater, a new take on the paw print concept, which cleverly incorporated an A into the negative space. The sweeping redesign also included a new word mark, which meant the only aspect of the brand that did not change was the Howling Coyote primary logo. The new uniforms and logos were generally considered to be upgrades by fans, but they still lacked the distinctly Arizona feel of the original look. But a certain slumbering canine was about to reawaken. Back in 2014-15, following the name change, the Arizona Coyotes had one more surprise up their sleeves.
One of the things we heard from a number of fans is they'd love to see us honor the old jersey, which was a really interesting jersey.
The Kachina jersey made its triumphant return on March 5th, 2015, bringing that classic Coyotes look to Arizona ice for the first time in 12 years. In fact, that throwback night was such a hit, the team kept doing it. They had 2 Kachina games in 2015-16 and 2 more the following season. After a year without third or throwback jerseys amid the launch of Adidas Adi Zero uniforms in 2017-18, a significant change was taking hold. June 22nd, 2018, the first Coyotes third jersey revealed in a decade brought the classic Kachina uniform back into regular rotation. They wore it 15 times a year for the next 2 seasons. At this point, the popularity of the revitalized throwback uniform was reaching critical mass. The Coyotes could no longer resist the will of their fans. Then, in the midst of all of it, yet another change of ownership. Alex Morello assumed control of the franchise in 2019, but unlike previous owners who tended toward pushing the brand in new directions, he was happy to keep the retro momentum. In January 2021, ahead of their 25th season in the desert, the Coyotes made it official. The Kachina jersey would become their new home uniform, while the Howling Coyote would remain on the white road jersey. And in tribute to their silver anniversary, the jersey lettering gained a metallic silver outline. On the ice, the crescent moon logo, once intended as a jersey crest, was painted at center ice, with Kachina Coyotes up and down the center line. The team was going all in on their retro revival. In fact, the entire league was going through a bit of a throwback renaissance with the arrival of Adidas's reverse retro program. Across the NHL, every team got a special one-off uniform that remixed a classic look from their past. For theirs, the Coyotes turned to that original green third jersey from 98-99. To remix it, they opted for a gorgeous purple base color and ended up with one of the best entries in the Reverse Retro collection. And the Kachina revivals kept coming. September 20th, 2021. What's old is new, as the Coyotes officially returned to the Kachina logo as their primary mark, alongside the reveal of a white throwback jersey. The Kachina Coyote was originally designed to have the overall shape of an A for Arizona, and now the team name and that logo were fully aligned as the Arizona Coyotes. And for brand continuity, they even kept the red Howling Coyote as a third jersey for one more season. But more drama was developing behind the scenes. The team was reportedly once again struggling to pay its bills and had been notified that Gila River Arena in Glendale would not be renewing its operating agreement with the team, leaving the Coyotes without home ice.
Well, turns out they were right. We are packing the moving trucks. We are moving out. But we aren't going far. Sorry, H-Town. Condolences, Quebec. We're not just moving out. We're moving up. Just steps from the 202, a scrappy band of scavengers and fiery devils will be under the same roof, forming a legacy of heat, hype, and affinity for the power play. Forks up, sticks down.
Setting aside a hype video that aged rather poorly, going into the 22-23 season, the Coyotes had a deal to play out of Mullet Arena on the campus of Arizona State University. It was not the ideal solution to host NHL games in a building that could seat fewer than 5,000 fans, but it was expected to allow time for the Coyotes to build a new arena of their own in Tempe. But a proposed plan to do so was rejected by voters, leaving ownership scrambling to find a new site. Despite the uncertainty about the team's future home, excitement around the brand was still strong as Adidas launched a second round of reverse retro uniforms. The Coyotes stuck with a formula that worked for them before, remixing their original third jersey once again, but this time with burnt orange as the base color. And as expected, it was a big hit with fans. Meanwhile, the team had hired fashion designer Luigi Villaseñor as its creative strategist, also announcing that he would be developing a new third jersey. January 18th, 2023. The last new uniform in Coyotes history was officially unveiled.
There's a home jersey, there's an away jersey, then there's a third jersey. To be able to design a third one is to be a part of history. The team just wanted to make the colors impactful, make the font memorable, and make the jersey fun as hell.
Nicknamed Desert Night, the design was intended to maintain a red option in their jersey mix. It featured a new wordmark crest with hand-drawn lettering and a reference to the Gila Monster shoulder patches inside the collar. This was the Coyotes' first time trying something truly new with a uniform design since 2015, and it was a solid effort. But looking back on this jersey only 15 months after it debuted is a bit sad. To some extent, this jersey was the promise of a future that Coyotes fans are now being denied. They won't get to see this brand keep moving forward, at least not anytime soon. Morello could still reactivate the team in the coming years, but only time will tell. Despite everything, this is not the end of the story. More chapters are sure to be written. When this franchise left Winnipeg in '96, Jets fans probably felt much the same way. It took 15 years, but they did finally get a team back.
On behalf of the Winnipeg Jets,
I have no doubt the story of NHL hockey in Phoenix will one day gain the opportunity to mirror the myth for which its city is named. In order for the Phoenix to rise from the ashes, there first have to be ashes. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like before you go and subscribe to the Icethetics channel for more videos about hockey branding.
Yeah, we ain't gonna stop.